Hello everyone. I hope you had a great lunch. Great extent to, and thank you for the staff here in Marriott for giving us such a great lunch in such a big number of people. First time as a moderator, I feel more comfortable on the other side of the court, if I can use the sports expression, but anyway, I'll try my best. There was a talk who should get the sleepy panel after lunch. I hope we will get you entertained, or you will get a quick nap. But we have an excellent line of speakers here with a great experience, which will contribute to extend our knowledge and understanding the meaning of and importance of family business. So, to get our brain working after such a great food, I would like to put a first question on the Slido, if I can do that. Please don't Google, there is no wrong answer. So, according to your perception, how old is the oldest still running family business in the world? Let's go with 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, I think that's about good time and a good response. Let's go to the second question. What do you think where that business comes from? Where is that company from? Okay, we can go to the next question. Pretty good answers, I can say, and challenging ones. We'll go to the importance of and the meaning of family business in the society and the world economy. Good, thank you. So, the right answer to the first question is that the oldest record of family-owned business comes from Japan, founded in 576. Still running, it's a construction business, still running in Japan. It's Kutogumo, so a very, very old company, which is now incorporated in Takatsuma Corporation, but still running. Started as a construction of their Buddhist temples with the rise of Buddhist religion, and they're still existing. So can you imagine a company, family-owned business, existing for almost 1,500 years, 1,500 years. 40 generations of CEOs from the same family come from that company. Coming to that, we answered the second question. It comes from Japan, but also the importance of the small and medium business enterprises, small and medium companies, family-owned companies. What is the importance? The right answer is that they contribute, according to McKinsey study, from 70 to 90% of global GDP. So if we say some company is family-owned or small, let's not forget how much the contribution to the society and the economy overall is contribution of that company. At the end, 35% of the Forbes 500 are family-owned businesses. So, we couldn't find better speakers than the gentlemen who are joining me here today to discuss the challenges, the future, and what is the importance of family business. We will start with Mr. Altin Maliqi, very well known into the Macedonian public. Mr. Maliqi is a seasoned entrepreneur, co-owner of Maliqi Group here in Macedonia, succeeded his business from his father, Mr. Enver Maliqi, and running the company with the greatest extent and even more success than it used to be. Second gentleman in line is Mr. Gligor Cvetanov. Please welcome Mr. Gligor Cvetanov, the CEO of Mac Progress Vinica, Macedonia's largest food industry, biggest food exporter in Macedonia, very well-known brand of Vincini. Next in line is Mr. Vladisslav Lalic, introducing him as a distinguished figure in international retail industry, CEO of Good Faith Strategic Advisory, but also with a great career in international business, in family-owned business, youngest CEO of IKEA ever, I would say, at the age of 29.
It was a long time ago. So.
Okay, so it was a long time ago.
I really forgot about it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, contributed to the big development and the strategic growth of IKEA in Europe. Last but not least, you know a familiar person from these summits, our MC, Kirk Zafirovsky, who is a Vice President of Business Development of Zafirovsky Family Foundation, and has a great experience in competitive realms of sports and entertainment, worked with major agencies and startups. His academics from Duke School of Business and Bucknell University complements his practical knowledge of expanding his family, philanthropic, and business endeavors. So please give us a round of applause, because we need your energy to have this panel working great. We will start with Mr. Maliqi regarding strategic leadership transition.
Break all the time.
Sorry?
I always crash the break first.
Yeah, okay. It was intentional.
I know.
Okay, regarding the strategic leadership transition your company moved through this transition, and can you please tell us how Maliqi Group approached the professional development of the family to non-family executives, because we also know some of the panelists later will CEOs in your company. Can you tell us a little bit more how you as family member and non-family member now align the goals towards succeeding the strategy that you have in place?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you for this honor that I'm invited here. It's my pleasure. And I think I can say 2 or 3 things from my personal. Theoretically, I can, but I think real life, it's more important how we do when it comes to second generation family business. It's pretty hard when you see when somebody already did something where it's achieved, and it's your turn, and you need to make combination of the old, because they did it, and it's very important for them to maintain some things that important for the family and for the business, and to put new, let's say, things and innovation, like it's nowadays. The innovations are going so fast that it's going in the speed that it's hard for us to catch. But where is the most important is to leave the ego behind and to see professionals and to leave them to lead and to help you in the growing the company, because only family members are the small thing in the whole corporation. Without good people, experts, people who wants to work, who wants to be the part of the corporation, for us that was the most important. And for me, I didn't have a courage to take a manager role in some of the businesses that we have. I thought that I was not ready, and I always wanted somebody who is better, and I wanted to learn from him, because I cannot maintain only one sector of the business. We have in the company many sectors that we run, and I always I wanted to learn from people that they have been much more than me in this let's say sector, and we trust people. We work with them. Actually, we don't see them like a non-family. For us, it's everybody's a family. Doesn't matter, should be related by blood, because most of the time of the lifetime, when you see statistics, more time you spend with colleagues and with people that you're from the morning till the afternoon than with a family home. So our approach is non-family or family. For us, doesn't have a very big difference.
That tells a lot about you and being humble and a good leader, letting other people express their qualities. Congratulations for that, and this is why your business is successful.
Thank you.
Going to make a connection to non-family members, let's address at least for now.
Okay.
Vladisslav, you have a great experience working for a family-owned company, big business, world-known brand, IKEA. So according to your extensive experience of IKEA expansion and leadership transitions in various regions, various cultures, various time zones within the family of IKEA, what do you think are the key strategies that you would recommend for family businesses to look to prepare for succession in the next generations?
Let me say like this. I think that before we talk about expansion, before we talk about growth, it's very important. There is a saying in this area, you have to settle first things at your house before you start going out of your house and doing other things. And I believe that also IKEA can be a very good case, a business case, and I will share with you a very simple case, which I will also demonstrate with some figures. On the other side, this is something that we within our consultancy company see as something which is also visible on a macro and a micro level. So the principles are more or less the same, and the experience now we have gathered with over 5 years doing such projects and similar projects are very, very similar. And what do I want to say? I mean, if we look at what is the transformation of a company? It's a complex process which has many, many sub-processes. But if we would simplify it, and I very much believe in simplifying things because I think simplicity is a strength, it's basically you have to have a solid corporate culture, values. You set the fundament. Then you see how you set your management, your organization, your processes, your risk assessments. Then you deal with your operations, which is business planning, action planning, KPIs. And then, of course, you have to have a proper legal structure, which will then support all of the above. This is actually, if I now go back to IKEA, which is a very good business case in that respect, has started this process in '81. It was long before I joined the company, and it has actually been doing this for approximately 5 years. So within '81 and '86, Ingvar Kamprad, the legendary founder of IKEA, a very humble man, a very down-to-earth and straightforward man, has understood that he has to take the company to a next level. And he did all this. He set up the organization, he set up the legal structure, he created clear business plans, and before all, he set a strong foundation of a very strong corporate culture. One of the key strengths of a company like IKEA, and one of the key aspects which I believe, and I know my partners share my opinion, that this is a key aspect of every successful company, the corporate culture. We will come to that also later, so I don't want to go too much into the width. In '86, IKEA, Ingvar Kamprad resigned as a CEO. 1st of January '87 came the first professional CEO of IKEA, which was Anders Moberg, which stayed the CEO until 12 years later. At that time, the company was operational in 13 countries in 40 years of existence. In the next 40 years, it entered into additional 40 countries, which means 13 to 40, it's 3 times. If I look at the figures, in '86, the company had €1 billion turnover with 12,000 employees and with 80 stores. 10 years later, after Ingvar Kamprad stepped down, it had 4.6 billion with 33,000 employees and 130 stores. In 2019, the year when I left the company had 42 billion euro turnover, 380 stores, and 220,000 employees. And just to complete your picture, it was not the growth at any price. In all these years, the company had an average net profitability of 7 to 10%. it had an accumulated internal reserves in cash of 18 billion euro and a value of assets in ownership of 24 billion euro. So this is an example where IKEA on a very high level has done something to prepare itself for succession, for expansion, and eventually for a very successful growth.
Great experience you have, I must say. Kirk, you came from external business, let's face it that way. You have worked in various capacities, also your family foundation, in global media, in business development. How do you put your experience, your knowledge, different things that you have succeeded or failed into your family business strategy and succession planning?
It's an honor to be up here speaking on a panel instead of just at everybody for times and all that. So in terms of my experience outside of the family business prior, our situation is rather unique. My dad's career was not in a family business. Obviously, GE, publicly traded companies like Motorola, Nortel, and Blackstone. So for him, when he decided to form the ZAF Group back in 2016, frankly, to us, it was sort of a bit of a shock. We're like, wait a second, you're leaving a spot at Blackstone we thought you were going to be at for the next 5-10 years, and we heard his vision of what he wanted to do. It was quite intriguing for a variety of levels. One, trying to find well-run family businesses themselves that had a lack of succession plan. Then for us to say, hey, we want to take advantage of his experiences and things he's done, and also from the family standpoint, what we've done is say, how can we help grow them and expand them in a very thoughtful and meaningful way? So a lot of times people made the assumption, my dad coming from Blackstone to this would be sort of a similar PE shop, like a lot of family offices are. And ours is much more thoughtful on, hey, we want to grow these things for the long term. If we're going to be partners with you, our vision is to think about what we can do, not 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, but literally, he's thinking about his grandkids someday running these businesses, if that's what they so choose. And what's unique for us is there was never that pressure. And I think a lot of the experiences we had from my time at Wasserman Media Group, my brother's time at McKinsey, and other things he did from that standpoint, provided a good sense of the markets we wanted to go to, utilize people that we knew to bring them into our business and help us get better. And frankly, one of the most important things I think you do in business is learn from your mistakes and find ways to get the best out of yourselves, and also ask for mentors and those that can help you figure out new strategies and things along the way. So my experiences were invaluable, but also straightforward. If you told me in 2016 when I graduated from business school I was going to work for a family office, I would have said, one, I never want to do that. And two, I didn't know that was an option, because at that point in time it wasn't a real thing. So fortunate in that standpoint, but we're thinking long term about how we're going to be successful and being thoughtful in the foundation building we've done over the last 7 years. So,
out of the script, how is Mike Z dealing with mistakes when you make one? He just entered, so it wasn't planned.
It was perfect timing. He walked in quite well. I think, honestly, one of the things that we did 2 years after I started in the business is we actually took a seminar at Kellogg Business School talking about family businesses and how to correctly weave them. And one of the important things we found was oftentimes the businesses are sold from the family standpoint. It's between second generation and third generation, because you can't figure out who's taking over for mom and dad or grandpa and grandpa who started it, and there's a lot of tension and built up things on that front. So for us, one of the core tenets we found was say we want to build our own internal family constitution, which for a business of, at that time, 4 years old, seemed kind of premature in some ways, but helps set up sort of rules and regulations of how we're going to do things, have us all agree. We've got a 3 times a year cadence to meet to talk about things that we're doing. So in terms of the overall structure of what we're doing, we're very well set up. In terms of day-to-day mistakes, he's much more forgiving than he seems when he's on stage. So it's been accepted, but also a chance to get better and learn from that. So.
It's a great political answer, okay. I'm joking, it's a straightforward answer. I know you guys, so yeah. I just wanted the audience to hear that, connections that you have. Gligor, one of the success stories in Macedonian business, in Macedonian food production, one of the largest, if not the largest, food exporting company in Macedonia. You grew up with the company, together with your father. You grew up the company, together with your father. You've been in every position, yes, most likely, in the company. So, can you please share how has this extensive internal experience shaped your approach to training and preparing the next generation? I was visiting your factory and your educational center. It's a marvelous educational center in Vinica. have a look at that. So please give us a little intro and your perspective about this question.
Thank you, Gjorgje. So I start my professional career very young. The company is like 34-year-old now. I'm in the company like 30 years. And I feel sometimes with my father we go together in this journey like partners, not like second generation, but I'm second generation, yes. How in this development, my development and also company development, I learn everything about the company and I make together with him all the processes. So I know every machine, every bolt of machine, every brick of the buildings. And for me, it's much more easy to run the company now like a CEO because I know all internal processes and everything inside. I'm preparing the company for next generation now, and then it's much more difficult now because with my father, despite we have some daily issues sometimes, but every time on the general and on the big picture, we have common, we reach some kind of consensus about that. Statistic for family companies is not very good. 70% do not succeed the second generation. 90% of the companies do not survive third generation. And it's really, I'm scared about this situation because it's, statistic, it's real. And I really work and learn a lot about this and discuss internally in the company. And luckily for us, we survived the second generation transition. But I see now in Macedonia that many companies at the moment are in situation of transfer, of this generational transfer. But sadly, not institution is working on this. And it's not a lot of discussion about this. And the companies, if they don't know how to make this transition in ownership and in management, probably they can fail because everyone in the family have their own interest, their own different opinion, their own expectation of the company, and the company need to be prepared for this. So for me, my experience give me a lot of opportunity, and we see this like running together. And my father now is retired like 4 or 5 years, but still coming to the company, still active for some issues. And also my children are now in the company. My son is there and start from a lower position, and slowly we prepare the company for this transition.
I would say that's a great repetition or becoming a tradition in your family. I've had the pleasure of meeting your father. And I can say he is everything but retired, but okay.
Active.
He is still the man. Anyway, you stole my closing line, but I will think of something about the percentage of failures. But every failure is an opportunity. Altin,
Yes.
Can you describe the process within Maliqi Group and how you're preparing? You said you are open to people which are from outside of the family, which are professionals, which you trust. How do you ensure that they're equipped and handle the strategic decisions that you want to make and you want to perform with your company? How do you encourage them to take the responsibility sitting next to the family owner of the business?
It's very easy. When they come with a problem, I said, I don't care, just solve it. It's your responsibility. It's one of that. It's hard, like I said in the beginning, the first generation had a different approach, and now time are changing, and probably from me and my father had different approach. Mine, it's working closely, but giving 100% the responsibility, and in order for him to have and to feel that he did something, not like most of the family businesses that I know, I have friends, they make decisions for them. What we do, we work closely. We are very transparent. We have open door policy anybody can come to me, to whoever needs to come. This is very important for us. And it was not easy from 10 companies working totally different with different managing and different structure to put them in one. This, unfortunately, we didn't have help from the owner of the company who started, my father, and we had to do it by ourselves. We had experts, very big help from people who knows, but in the end, they can give you a lot of inputs. They can tell you how to do it, but without the people inside that they were for 20, 25 years, they know how the company it's working. We structure it, and it's not easy. It was maybe 7, 8 months just to do. And as with theory, you know, it's you do the processes, procedures, and all these things, we know how to do it, or somebody will tell us, but the real thing is the follow-up and the people to believe in that. Because in our part of the world, let's say, it's not known so much corporate structure here, and it's new, let's say, more or less. We had tough times, and I can say that we are at 45% working as we should. One very important aspect is the mindset with the people that are in the company, with the managers and with the people who work. Corporate culture, which Vladisslav said, is very important. We made a constitution for the company. We try to hold to that, but what we work a lot with the people, it's to change the mindset and to start thinking not as individual, but like a group, a family, because now he's not in one company. Now we are 10 company in one umbrella, and we need to think like one and to act like one. And that was not easy, but we know that that's the best way, and we have to do it. We had courage, let's say. It was not easy, because we are 3 members in the family now, me, my brother, and my sister, and we needed more than 5 months, to tell you the truth, to clear all our things between us, between everything, to take aside some interest, mine or his, and everything, and to see the interest of the family in order to work, because we need to make space for the third generation. And I can go back a little bit from the first generation. They didn't have time to mentor us, to teach us, because of course they were building the company, and they didn't have the time and the tools like they are here. And what I say, we should learn from mistakes they were not mistakes actually, but they were growing the company, and we need now to with the third generation and the people that non-family, let's say, but family people, to work with them very closely, to train them, and learn every time. Whatever it comes something new, I just said to HR, to people, send them there. And it was like a joke, because I want my people to learn. And financial director, she was asking me, but we invest so much money, he can leave. And it's a saying, okay, that's true, but what if he stays and doesn't learn?
Yeah, it's a common saying, yeah. I can understand. So we can, we got the perception that out of 3 opinions in your family, you make one decision.
Yes,
supported by
it's
everything.
not easy.
Yeah,
we're working every day, but it's possible.
Yeah,
because
different opinions.
And that's very good, because if you're by yourself and you think what you take, of course, from your people, what they think, but when it's a family, different 3 opinions, we try to have the best, and if it doesn't work, we just leave it. We go another step. We never stop. Failing for me was the biggest teacher for me, and what we have to do for the third generation, what the first generation didn't do, is to give them responsibility and to let them fail, encourage them with that. Mm-hmm. And I think when they're gonna have responsibilities and to make them make hard decisions by themselves, it's better to be near you than later, not to allow them and after to have a tougher choice or to not to be next to you.
Vlado, Gligor just mentioned that there is no experience or expertise in family transition business, so opportunity for your consultancy, I guess.
I will not comment on that.
But anyway, I wanted you mentioned the corporate culture. Gligor mentioned the family culture, how they built, and Altin mentioned how they built the company, Kirk as well. So what is the transition from family culture to corporate culture? How can you tell us how that process goes? And basically, what are the measures that you find most effective, let's say with the example of IKEA?
I mean, all the speakers here, I think unanimously we have all agreed about the importance of the corporate culture. Personally, I'm a very big believer in that, and I think that's one of the main foundations of a successful company. Corporate culture as such is not something that needs to be copied. It's not something that needs to be, in a way, we live in a region which has its own specific circumstances, and I think we should be all striving to build the corporate culture which is authentic, not to be copied from somebody else. But of course we should learn from best practice. And best practice, I mean, there is many empirical proofs which show that companies with strong corporate culture are more successful than those which, especially on the family businesses, than the ones without, or without a clearly defined, nourished corporate culture. There is even not to go too much into theory, but I think it's important to mention a study done by a Harvard professor, Hesketh, which basically made a study based on 4 R's, where he said that the companies with a strong corporate culture, they have a stronger retention of people, referral that people refer them to work in the company, they have better returns to labor or they're more effective, and they build better relationships with their vendors. And that these companies, that these factors actually contribute at least half of the improved economic result of the particular companies he studied. But if we then don't go too much into theory, if we go a little bit into practical, simple examples, and we have to use, again, I mean, this is something we have encountered in our work, being consultants and working very much with that. But again, there are some cases that we need to use and to maybe come back to and to relate from IKEA. And I think these are some things that I would like to share with you. First of all, one of the learnings and one of the preconditions for building a successful culture, corporate culture, is that you don't impose it. It has to be founded, and then it has to be done not on a spontaneous basis, but you cannot force people to believe into that. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that attracts and keeps the people, and it's a prerequisite for a successful organization. But I would like to highlight maybe the most important factor, coming, Gjorgje, to your question, and that is the power of a good example. And I would, in that sense, this is not a business case, this is a story I would like to share with you. It's a story I had the privilege to live through. It's a story that actually me and my partners within Good Faith had the privilege to know Ingvar Kamprad and to see how he does that. And actually he was not doing it, he was living it. It was in '93 when I got an offer to work in Romania. At that time, a very promising market for IKEA. And IKEA was particularly interested to build production facilities there. So in November of '93, Ingvar Kamprad announced his visit to I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you. This was just to make sure you're awake after lunch.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call.
So we got an announcement that he will be coming, and of course, I was just a beginner in the company. Everybody got stressed. We were expecting now things will happen and everything else. He stayed the whole week with us in Romania. And I remember, it's a story which actually can be used as a principle. It's a story which stayed with me for such a long time, and it's a story which I think can be also used apart from the professional side. We can also talk about values that you have as a person. He flew in. We waited for him at the airport. He flew in with economy class. Very simple, came with other normal passengers that came without anything else. There was no big issue. There was no bodyguards. There was nothing in that respect. He drew with us in a normal Volkswagen Passat. He just requested to sit in the front to see the landscape because it was one of his first visits in Romania. He slept in the same hotel where we slept, which in the middle of Transylvania in '93 was not the most luxury place to be with. He spent every evening with us summarizing the days, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and starting a day at 6. And at each factory we have visited, he had a lunch with all the work in the co-workers' cantina in the restaurant, and he shook hands with every worker in the factory because he wanted to thank them for cooperating with IKEA. We drove back to the airport. He left in the same way he came, and that was with the economy class. Yeah. A few days later, when he left, we got a handwritten letter from him, which was actually a summary of his visit, and in a way, an action plan for what he wants that we do in the future and how he sees Romania, etc., etc. And I have to say, before that visit, I was having a little bit of doubts about how important corporate culture is in a company, because IKEA put a lot of effort to train me in that corporate culture. And I was thinking this is a little bit of this nice, sweet corporate talk. But actually, after that visit, I understood how does that work, and how is that to live these values, and how how strong is the good example. Otherwise, I wouldn't be more than 30 years later, I would not be telling you this story. And I think this is the key, coming back to your question, Gjorgje, in the beginning, the key to a building of a successful corporate culture is the power of a good example.
Personally, also, I'm a big believer in leading by example, which this case just proves that this is one of the best and most successful leadership styles. Kirk, you are now engaged in your family foundations. How does your role now in the Zafirovsky Family Foundation influence succession planning? What are the unique challenges that you have, having in mind that foundation is a little or more different than traditional businesses?
Well, I think for us, if it has been clear from my dad's involvement in this organization and other things that way, we've always been very philanthropically based as a family. And so for us, we've always tried to find things that are an outlet that we find great passion in, things that we think either have great need or things that really drive us to give back in some sort of way. So for us, a large portion of what we're doing from the ZAF Group standpoint is to make sure we're successful for the long term, not just for our own personal gain, but for things that help shape us along the way. And so I think for us, all 5 members of the immediate family, and now to the extended family through our wives and in-laws on that front, is if somebody comes to us with an idea or something they're passionate about that they want to make a difference in, we want to support that. And the best way for us to do that is to make sure we drive our businesses at the ZAF Group be as successful as possible, because with that, gives us more opportunities to give back and find more areas and avenues to do those things. So it's sort of a core tenet and value that we have, is to make sure, frankly, on our investor letter we sent out this year, we actually sent a separate note to all employees at both companies. So I think in total 470 employees got it, saying one of the main goals that we have as a foundation is to make sure 10% of the net worth of the family at some point in time goes to things that are important to them. And so if you think about that front, we're putting our words and actions and saying to our employees, we're not just doing this for X and Y. We're doing this to make sure that things that we think are important are known within the organization, and that's sort of a core tenet of what we're doing. So that it's front and center. It's not said a whole lot, but we know that's part of the driving factor as to why we're doing this as a family. So,
okay, thank you, Gligor. It's a rather traditional industry, food industry, especially in Macedonia. We are familiar with flavors and we are keeping some tradition, things that we don't want to change, and we are very, I would say, picky about the food, which makes your success even bigger. But how do you balance the tradition and innovation in this succession story of your company? Because certainly 34 years ago, when you started at the age of 4 in the company, the things were probably done differently than today. So how do you balance this need for innovation? You said you had a lot of discussion with your father, bringing the right solution, different opinions, and how you are maintaining these core values in the succession process in innovation, which will also connect us to probably the next question we had with you about the learning and local application. You, as I said, you have a center for development, for professional development. You are very active in dual education. So if you can bring all these things together in one answer, because I think they're really connected.
Yes, like I mentioned, working together with my father like a partners, it was, for our company, was very positive because we were a mix of his experience and wisdom and my passion and my willing for new technology, willing for new way of thinking, and this mix, we are together like this 30 years, and what we do in this succession, we find that we cannot do alone, and we need to professionalize the company. And first what we do, we make a very good structure, and we put in all the important point of the company, professional managers. Despite we are family company, this is company that is run by managers that are outside of the company. Of course, we are here, but the company, it's like 700 people now in our group, and we need the company to be run by professionals. Because succession, when we speak about succession or family transition, it's not easy point, and most of the company fail here because either company is not prepared or founder is not prepared, do not want to give the power to successor. Also successor it's not prepared, or in general all the managers or all the structure is not prepared. So it is really process that need to, everyone should be prepared, and it's a process that need to be planned. Regarding latest year, so we are working always to be in front of the other, in front of competition, and to lead Macedonian confectionery industry. Food industry is not so traditional. I see it like a modern, like very fast developing with all the new preferences of consumers. And on the latest year, we are realizing our mission to make a modern company, and we opened the most modern R&D center in Vinica that is equipped with all the necessary equipment for R&D for food industry, like bakery, cakes, biscuits, and chocolate. But we start to work with dual educational system, to work with high schools in our area. Also, we work with universities and academia. And lately we opened 2 academia. One is Progressive Academy for executive managers, where we train our managers, and also it's open for other managers for the region. And also we open Vincini Academia for bakers, confectioners that are more specialized in our industry. With these 2 academia, we are growing the people, but also the region. Eastern part of Macedonia was part that was forgotten by central governments with the roads, with the infrastructure, with everything. But lately, with all the developments, with good connection now to the capital, we see that the region start to grow, also with our, of course, initiatives. And a lot of people start to coming back from abroad, and this is very encouraging for us. that we make people to come back from abroad or from Skopje to live in Vinica, Kočani, or the neighboring cities.
Great. As I said, I've been there, and I truly hope that you will continue the great work, and then you will bring back the people back to Macedonia and back to the, let's say, not to offend rural municipalities, because
Just to mention, yesterday we signed contract with one program of USAID to work with our academia for young people in the region to make them a lot of different programs like upskills of their knowledge, like professional education, many other initiatives, especially for young people to have better hope in the region and to stay there.
Altin, as someone who is really involved in evaluating again the outcomes of your business strategies within Maliqi Group, with your leadership effectiveness, even you say, I don't care, you shouldn't solve this problem. I hope when they bring the problem, they bring the solution. But how do you adapt succession plans based on your internal family dynamics, as you mentioned? How do you prepare the next generation? You mentioned, although you are all young, you are preparing already for sort of retirement, but putting the third generation into place, which is one of the questions, but not to forget the audience also. So I'm combining a few questions into that.
How we're preparing, as I said from the beginning, we try to take what's the best from the first generation, combine with the second generation, and with the new world that is coming, information age and everything, to combine with the all three. What we do, we educate ourselves. I go in every possibility that I can. I go to train first of I need to start it from me in order to understand, because every time when we seek professionals, and those professionals they know their own industry, and for that I need them to understand me, and he to understand us. What is the main goal for learning? Learning is the most important thing that we are trying to do every time. And I got the best thing how to prepare the third generation. Let's say it's not far away, because my brother, his son is 21, his daughter is 19, and they started. Mine are much smaller, but it's never too late. It's how I did it when I was younger. I was asking my father, please give me something to work. He said, find yourself. And I said, give me this and give me this. In the end, I understood that nobody can give you nothing. You need to take it. And we're going to learn from that. And the most important, what for me made me very, very good and understand and to be people-oriented, it's I was tutored by the managers that we had that time, and I was stick to him, and day and night I was not letting him or her drink coffee without me. And this is the easiest way for the third generation and the cheapest, let's say, your managers to tutor your people, the third generation, but also going in practice, going in from having many tutoring from experts, and to learn and look at the world what is doing, after see what Europe is doing, and after in the Balkans, because you cannot compare, as Vladisslav said. You need to adopt it and to see what's the best, and you need to tailor up your business, because every business is different. We have 9-10 different businesses, and it's not so easy to incorporate all of them, but everything is possible. We have the will, we have the people. I'm very thankful that I have such a good people next to me, who believe in corporate structure and corporate culture, and I know that we're gonna succeed, because we have good people, professional people who wants to learn, and who wants to take responsibility. This was very important for me, taking responsibility and just growing. The other thing what we did after we start taking the second generation, we said we need to stop and to see where we are now. We didn't want to grow right away because you know how it is, second generation sometimes say it's better from the first and let's grow. We said no, we wanted to see where we are, to structure, to see how, what we need, where we are not very good, where we're strong, what we need to do, make a good plan. We planned it for 5-6 months with friends, with colleagues, with experts from outside, from inside, and we saw where we are weak, what we need to work, what we need to do, and after that, when everybody's on board and know what to do, it's much easier. And of course, when you have good people and experts near you, next to you, it's much easier and it's worth.
I must say how positively I'm surprised. We already have 9, 10, 11 questions coming. I know some of the people here from the business community in Macedonia in the audience, family business owners or second, third generation. So I'm guessing that it comes a little bit to you, Vlado, in terms of free consultancy. So I'll put 2 questions in one.
Luckily, we have only 8 minutes to the panel,
Yeah,
so
it's okay. Oftentimes, company successors are pressured, contrary to what Altin said, they are pressured to take over family business. Where do we draw the line, or whether they're most suitable successor or not, and what are the mistakes should family business watch out when turning their big ideas into practical steps?
I mean, there is no universal answer to that question because I think it very much depends from case to case.
It's a typical consultancy.
Exactly. So, more of that after the panel. So.
Yes.
But nevertheless, I mean, I think there is one important thing. If we look at it in the now seriously talking, there is, and I think our panelists also mentioned that here, we should not be afraid of making mistakes. Only while you sleep, you don't make mistakes. And I think that there is this trial and error aspect that needs to be taken into consideration. Doesn't mean that things have to be done blindly and just to do things as they come. No, that's not the question. But I think there is a wide variety of aspects that need to be considered, and of course, then they have to be dealt with. But I think that once you decide to do something and to go along the path of making a succession, if it's within the family or outside of the family for a professional management, you have to believe into that, you have to push for that, and you should not give up, you should be persistent and stubborn. And then along the way, I'm sure there will be many challenges, there will be many mistakes, but as long as you learn from these mistakes and you improve every day, then I think this will be long-term a successful aspect. But of course, there is many challenges that will be on that road.
Quick answer on why IKEA is not present in Macedonia. I guess that's the lady's question, but anyway.
The reason is that, I mean, I'm not in IKEA now for 5 years, so I have to be careful what I say, but nevertheless, at the time when I was there, we did market study, and then it was a decision due to the size of the market and market potential that, unfortunately, Macedonia was not having that potential. Of course, now with the development of the digital side of the business, that there is a bigger flexibility in different formats of the stores, so that could be opening possibilities for the future.
We are a patient nation. We are waiting 30 years for EU, so we can wait a little bit longer for IKEA.
I hope IKEA will be slightly faster than the EU. So.
Okay, Kirk, one question for you, because we touched with all of them, with all the speakers, we touched succession and innovation. From your experience at Teamworks and other innovative environments, how important is embracing the technological advancements and innovative practices in planning for the next generation of family business?
I think it's huge. I think people are foolish if they don't look at trends going on in other businesses in other parts of the world to say, hey, if this is working there, why can't we look at it internally at our own business? So to keep the answer relatively short, I think we look at all things going on in the market, not just other family businesses, but other things in the industries where we operate, figure out what are best practices, whether they're new innovations or for us would be to change what we've done previously, are hugely important. So I think to learn from your competitors is a very smart way to do business in a lot of ways, but also to sit back and come to panels like this throughout the 2 days and go, what do I know about AI before this? And if we're not using that, why not? What are reasons to do that? And really not to question everything, but to sit back and go, if there are ways for us to be more efficient and effective in what we're trying to accomplish, why are we not exploring those? And why not making sure our team is up and aware on what latest trends are and how we get better? I think that's sort of the mantra of the entire business is if we get better, every year moving forward, we're on a great path towards success. And sometimes it's a lot of internal reflection on what are our gaps, what are our holes, and if we can't address those with what we're currently doing, let's figure out the best way to do that. So those are not just because I worked at a technology company beforehand, it's just, to me, it's common sense. So.
Let's rephrase that openness to innovation or to what new generations are having to say is one of the key success factors in the running family business?
100%. For one of our businesses, Abco Systems company in New Jersey that does anything in and around warehouses and distribution centers, if you think about what used to be simple standard pallet rack to now you can actually use robotics and innovation and automation to move things along, to utilize that instead of actually looking at ways to make things run more effectively, efficiently, on time, and frankly better, you're living in a world gone by in some ways. So for us, we're looking at ways for, whether it's that business or IT business, ways to look for advancement technologically, if they make sense, is one way that we're always looking to improve and get better at our business. So.
Gligor, last but not least, I know you were great in keeping the time management, which is not my strong side. But anyway, there are 2 questions from the audience which I want you to answer as a local businessman. One is, how can family business maintain motivation and enthusiasm among family members involved in business? And then it's directly to you. How is Gligor preparing for the 3rd generation in Mag Progress? Is some family member here, so he wants a promise, or? But anyway, please answer these 2 questions.
Okay, thank you. One, as I mentioned before, the planning of this succession of the management, we must make distinction between ownership and managing the company. Usually here it's mixed up, but must be clear. You can be owner, but not CEO of the company, or it's totally different. Sometimes it's better, my children or other children or successor, to not be manager of the company. It's better for them if they are not ready for that. So what is important thing is planning, and this planning, I listen now, you have constitution. Also, we have constitution. For me, family constitution was what I first time heard, because I learned a lot. I didn't want to go in this bad statistic that a lot of companies fail, because transition is something that it's naturally happen. During the years, every one of us coming time to retire or to give space, and this is very painful for one company, the way of running, the next way of running. That's why it's very important to have this family constitution that is giving to all the family members very clear direction. And usually the founders, my father and I believe other founders, do not want to speak about that. It's very, for them it's like, while I'm alive, it will be like this. After that, you know. But you don't know. It's not the case. You must be prepared. That's why me, like, I calculate myself, let's say, like 2nd generation. I was a person that sit down, my father, mother, my sister, and all the children, my and sister, to make clear about what will be in the future. And I think this is very important thing, that everyone know their place in the company and everyone know how to deal with the company, to be ambassador of the company in the future. So I strongly suggest to all the family companies here that they don't have this constitution to make it, and it will be much clearer. On the end, in the family companies, a lot of them fail, not because of business questions. They fail because of family issues or family questions.
Especially in the Balkans, that's some sort of tradition, which are not a case and representing that tradition, luckily. That was the time we had the flash of time up. We were right on time with your finishing the answer. As I said, you stole my closing line about failures, so we will go back to the success story of Congo Gumi, which is existing almost 1,500 years. I'm very thankful for sharing your experience and explaining the so-called agency problems through your examples, that you show and that your company succeed because of your responsible owners, and you do what's best for the company, not best for yourself. And I would just ask the audience for a great round of applause for such a great presentation. Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure hosting you. Thank you.